endometriosis started when I was about 11. I was having really heavy periods. I was off school. My mum had to keep me off. I was in pain, more pain than what she did, what she had, when she was younger. And we went to the doctor many times. Every time I was off, we went, and they label you as soft or over dramatic. There's nothing wrong with you. So I went through that for many years, just not being believed, leaking, being in pain, collapsing in pain, just not going out, social life, I didn't want to be around people because you never know when you're going to leak, when you're going to bleed, and you just become isolated. And it wasn't until I was 34, which was October last year, they finally diagnosed me, and believe me, I have pain all over my abdomen, into my back, which is just constant. You just become used to it. It just becomes part of your body. And then I have pain in my shoulder tip, in my breast, all around my chest cavity, and it's just constant. I get pains in my hands and my feet, but that's to do with nerve damage. Because I've experienced so much pain, my body doesn't know how to cope with the pain, and it's caused nerve damage, and it's caused fibromyalgia because I haven't been listened to. I was ignored, and they left it to go on for so long, in 24 years before I got a diagnosis. So the pain is, for me, I feel like my pelvic is constantly being sawed through with a rusty saw. My abdomen and into my back, it constantly feels like someone is just inside stabbing different places with a nice sharp knife, and that's constant. You get treated as though you're just dramatic, that everyone has the same pain and it's just a period pain. The bleeding and the blood clots, I once was told, and I don't know if you're going to keep this there, but they told me that they didn't believe me that I was having such huge blood clots. And this was a few years ago. I actually I caught one, and I walked into the GP surgery, demanded an appointment, and I showed him a big massive blood clot that came out of me, and he said, yeah, that's unnatural. I was like, well, why didn't you believe me? I've had to come in with a blood clot in a container that I can't use again to show you. I was furious. You know, you go in to hospital, you're in A&E, you're in so much pain, they don't care. I was on the floor in hospital for about 6 or 8 hours, I can't remember. I'd have to ask my partner, but it was 6 or 8 hours, and there was 3 beds in the waiting area. They moved me from my bed after giving me a strong dose of IV morphine, so I could hardly move my body. I didn't have any senses. I was just in my own little world, pain-free. And they moved me back into this little waiting area where I was on the floor for hours and hours and hours, and there was 3 beds. So that is frustrating. It's just the worst. In my mind, they didn't put me in a bed because they just thought I was faking it, and you get surgeons and doctors that come on the rounds in the hospital and tell you that there's nothing wrong with you, it's a bit of constipation, you're drug seeking, and it's the way they treat women's health is abhorrent. They just think you can't handle a period. That's all they think. And women, doctors and surgeons are the worst. Because if they don't experience what you experience, it's all in your head. You know, they make you feel crazy, anxious, depressed. So where I'm up to with my treatment is I am having another laparoscopy in a couple of weeks. I'm due the first week in June. I'm not 100% sure yet what that surgery is going to be because they're not very good at keeping you up to date with things. I'm hoping that they will untether my ovary because it's attached to my pelvis, I believe. And from my last MRI, Endo was found in my bowel. So that would be a whole other waiting list with a whole other team, a specialist that knows about endo in the bowels. So I'm not quite on that journey yet. So at the minute, a laparoscopy in a couple of weeks. The impact that it's had is that I struggle to work. I have not been in work now for a few months because I can't stand in front of the class. I have to sit at the desk with a hot water bottle on me, and they didn't like that. Work didn't like that. So they allowed me to sit, but then I can't greet the students in. I'm in pain. I literally have to wee on the dot every hour, or sometimes if it was a bad day, I'm rushing to the toilet. I had a locker in the toilet to change, and the embarrassment, and my students know why I'm rushing to the toilet, and it's more embarrassment at work. It's left me feeling embarrassed. It's left me feeling incapable. My daughter thinks I'm dying because I spend more time in bed than I do anything. Thursday, they found me collapsed in the bathroom. Both my children. They didn't know what to do. They went and got my partner. But it's devastating. They see blood coming out of me. They don't understand what's wrong with me. And it's having an impact on them. It really is. My daughter's very frustrated and emotional at the moment. And I think that's her way of protecting herself, being angry at everybody. Because if she's angry, you know, she doesn't have to be upset. You know, a lot of women that have got it spread to other places. It's not just gynecological, it's in other places as well. It's so intense. You end up jobless. I don't know if I will ever be ready to go back to work. I need, as soon as I've had my surgery and I've recovered a little bit, I'll be able to tell, you know, how am I feeling? Is any of that pain reduced? So I have to just wait and see. So I don't know if Lucy mentioned it, but me, Anita, Dr. Sharma and Lucy, with some of Lucy's family, which was lovely, went to Parliament to speak to Elsie Bundle. She invited us down. There was some hardcore MPs in there. I was like, oh, this, like, you know, and they were making notes. There were some secretaries for other well-known MPs. Can't remember all the names, but you know, when you see the faces, you're like, check you out. And they listened. They listened to all our stories. They were mortified that that's what happens. We went home and never heard anything about it. So I have, we recently put in a claim for this, for PIP is called now, isn't it? I'm waiting for an assessment on the phone. And even if I could get a little bit, I could reduce my hours. So it's not about, you know, claiming PIP for not working. If I could get PIP to help me with this disabling condition that I've got, I could still work. I could do, you know, I could shorten my hours down and the PIP could help top it up. But yeah, it's really hard to be believed for a condition when 99.9% of people just think it's a period. that you can't cope with, you soft drawing. I try and give myself 3 words every morning. Yeah? Random words, just 3 words that come to my head. And at the end of the day, I sit in bed in the same place I gave myself them 3 words and see if I can remember. And I can't remember. Some of the pills, probably. All the drugs that I'm on to help with the pain. And the fact that I'm doing nothing, but I need to do nothing to have less pain. So my memory, my brain, I can never remember the 3 words. It's ridiculous. So I think GPs, they're your first port of call primarily. That's why the primary care, yeah? And I heard once, and I think it's true, that if it's something to do with men and women's health, they'll get paid to go on CPD. Yeah, they don't have to use a holiday or anything like that. The surgery will pay for them. Like if they want to go and learn about diabetes or MS or cancer, things like that. Because it affects both men and women, there's paid CPD. Same goes for men's conditions, because they're well researched, so they're well funded. So CPD, off you go, paid. I was told that a lot of primary care don't know much about women's healthcare because you don't often get paid for the CPD, because doctor's surgery feels like there's just no benefit in it, which is outrageous. It's completely outrageous. Now, like I said, it's down the grapevine from a nurse. I don't know how true it is, but don't know why I should say it if it wasn't. But primary care, they need to know more about women's health. They need training on what's a normal period for women, what's an abnormal period for women, what's normal pain for a period. If someone comes in and they're describing all, like, more than just, I'm having pain here, I'm feeling, a pad every hour, I'm feeling a pad every half an hour, they need to understand that there's just something going on there, and primary care, they need to then be urgently saying, right, you need to go for a scan now. There needs to be that option. There needs to be facilities where they can check these things straight away instead of having you going in a loop for years and years and years. So if primary care, if doctors, GP surgeries, or, local outreach, bar doc, oh no, you don't have bar docs, but out of hours doctors, if they're going into that field, they need to know about women's health, not just men's health, not just mixed health. They need to understand women's health as well. So they are your first primary care. Needs to change, needs more training. I want my voice heard for future generations. My daughter, I am worried to death that she is going to be in the same position as me, and I want things to change so she doesn't have to suffer like I did.